going on. Obviously, you know who I am, you know who you are.
You know what I do.
Both agents, so we're just gonna talk about, the recruiting process and, what, strategies we use and how we kind of attack athletes. And I don't like to use the word attack, but how we recruit athletes.
Yeah, the approach that we have.
The approach,
typically when we're going after.
The pursuit, essentially. Obviously this is the agent pursuit. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's a necessary conversation. Kind of bring a little bit of just perspective from the agent side, but also can allow like someone on the other side to gain a little bit more understanding about what we do and how we do.
Yeah, I think especially with the insight of how different agents recruit, because obviously everybody's different. Everybody has their ways, their go-tos, right. And we'll kind of just discuss how what's your ways, what's my ways, what do we feel like is effective, what do we feel like doesn't work, So,
but before we even get in depth to it, we got to make sure we understand there is no perfect way, right?
Absolutely. Every agent is different, and every player is different. Right. Every client is different. So you got to think, what am I going to do to get this client's attention, and then from there, how do you build that real rapport? It's not a fake rapport. It's not a fake relationship. You want to build a real rapport where you have a connection with them. So what are some of your, I'll say, strategies that you use in the recruiting process? And I want to relate it to something else after, and I'll explain that.
First thing first, in this new wave, this age of social media, sliding in DMs, that's always the first approach you want to take. Take the social media approach. You try to, at least for me, I'll try to maybe get their attention. Maybe they just posted an athletic photo or whatever. Give it a like, give them a follow. The hope is that it brings them to my page, and then okay, this is what he does. And then once I get the follow back, then it's like, okay, cool. Now we should both be on the same page about why I'm here. Now it's up to me to kind of dictate what happens next after that.
That's interesting you said sliding DMs, because that's clearly what we're talking about, relating the agent process to, a process of a guy talking to a girl or a girl talking to a guy, and how they're very similar, So recruiting, I would, relate that to courting, So we got to recruit, you got to court them, and what do you see your limits are? So certain guys or certain agents will have no limits. They'll say, hey, I'll do whatever to get this athlete. I'll do whatever to get this girl. But what would you consider your limits, and what would, what's your what do you stand for?
All right, so I definitely have some limitations now. I think that, and this is going from the athlete perspective, and even in the court in a woman's perspective. I'm not about to over bombard you with just unwanted attention, right? If I'm trying to gain your attention and you simply just don't want it, then I'm not gonna keep spamming you with messages and likes and spam liking and doing all this. I ain't got time for that, right? I at least have a little bit of decency for myself. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But not for real. On the real note, that's normally my primary limitation. I try to limit myself with just doing too much if it's just not wanted.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll relate to my strategy, is obviously, making yourself seen. You got to make yourself seen. If you're talking to a girl, you're going to say, hey, I got to figure out, how does she see me? Am I going to approach her? Whether it's walking up to her at a club, or, on the agent side, is it walking up to him at a game, walking up to him at the gym, making that first initial contact? And I kind of relate, obviously rate the both. They're very similar.
But now what if you just mentioned seeing them in that in-person perspective? What happens if it's just from the perspective that I mentioned, as far as the social media approach? She don't see you, right? So what's next? What do you do?
Finding, a mutual. Sometimes your homeboy may say, hey, I got a homegirl.
Okay. Yeah.
Find something mutual and use that as leverage. And then obviously if you're a good person, a good guy, a regular conversation can come about, whether it's a referral, whether it's, hey, you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. I think that's important.
I think I want to take it back to even something before that, right? The social media just imprint, the footprint that you're leaving behind, right? The social media footprint. Sorry. So it's if a girl or athlete goes to your page, their first thing they're going to look to see is what have they been posting, how have they been posting, and what type of content are they putting?
Who are you? You want to show who you are.
Yeah, who are you exactly? Yeah. So you want to try to give them a story about who you are without having to utter a word out, right?
Yeah.
And I think from there that really creates the, I guess just the insight that person.
Yeah, that general knowledge of who you are. You know?
Yeah, and it makes it easier because now that person can now dictate if they want to maintain some type of or create some type of rapport relationship with you, or just keep it moving. But at least they're gonna go to my page and say, okay, this person here is agent. He's he's worked with this athlete. I can clearly see on this page. He's been at these events. I can clearly see on this page. He's been at these locations.
Shows who you are.
On this page, right?
It shows your, a form of credibility I'll use.
Yeah.
Just like, if you're at a club, I mean, it's bad, but if you're at a club and you're popping bottles, like, no, the popping bottles part to show your credibility, so sometimes that's an oversell, and even on, social media, it can be an oversell if you're just overly posting about what you're doing, it could, are you covering something, are you showing too much just to get that like or get that view? Okay. So I definitely think it's important to show what you do and who you are, but having that balance where you're not overdoing it. We're like, okay, another post that you're at a game. Okay, big deal.
Now, does that balance depend on the athlete or woman themselves?
Absolutely. Okay. Some athletes like that. Some athletes want to see that. Some women want to be like, okay, hey, he's in the club every night. I love the club every night. Right. Or someone may, hey, he's at brunch every weekend. I want a guy that's at brunch every weekend. Okay. So, I guess it just depends on the athlete and how, what they stand for. Right. Do your values align? And I guess we can pivot to the time and the effort, and the money, obviously, because some guys and agents will spend a lot of money to get that girl or get that client. And again, I'm relating the two. And some agents won't. Like, what is some of your ways, like, that you usually?
Man, I stand on business. So, like, for me personally, I'm not in this to just flash money, right? And hope that it gains your attention. I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I know what principles I have, and I just hope that they align with whoever I'm courting at the moment, right? Yeah. My goal is that I know I'm secure in what I do. Yeah. It's not my job to make you also feel that I can make you secure. It's your job to, at this point, to see the value, trust that I can take you to that same level of security that I have. And that's what I'm trying to pitch or push out to whoever I'm courting. I'm not gonna make any false promises. I'm not gonna oversell that.
So you don't oversell when you're talking to a girl? I just
need to, man. You go to my page, you see what I do. You know what I'm saying? And but that's the approach that I have.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So, and that way it allows you to just be your genuine self. You don't have to put on a facade trying to impress somebody that you gotta sustain for the longevity.
Yeah, you want to show your real value, show who you are, and kind of, have some principles that you stand by. It's just not, hey, I'm the biggest agent, or I'm the biggest spender in the club, or I'm the biggest, brunch guy. Everybody knows me. You want to kind of show some values and show who you are from the beginning, whether it's with the social media to the in person, and to the full recruiting process and the full courting process if you're talking to a woman.
My courting process too is I tend to challenge. Yeah. I'm going to challenge you, right? So. Maybe you're familiar, maybe as an athlete, you may be familiar with an agent or agents.